We're quickly cutting across to the newsroom. Rahul Kanwal joining us for more details on that. Rahul, the Indian army, they're thwarting attempts of China and its aggression, trying to intrude on the intervening night of 29th and 30th. What details do we have over the last 24 hours? What's really happened in the area?
Okay, so what we're going to try and do is demonstrate to our viewers where this skirmish took place, what was going on the ground. Remember, so far, what we have seen is largely been on the northern bank of the Pangong Tso. So this is the Finger Four area in the northern bank of the Pangong Tso, and so far all the action has been happening on this side. However, this battle has happened on the southern side. Remember, this red line that you see is the line that denotes the line of actual control, the border between India and China. So this fight that has happened on the southern side. What we had reported previously through our open source intelligence desk is the massive deployment of Chinese troops on the southern side of the Pangong as well. What they tried to do, apparently from the information that we've been able to gather, is move into Indian positions. So alter the status quo on the southern side of the Pangong Tso Lake in this general area, which is when the Indian army spotted what the Chinese army was up to, quickly swung into action. There is violence, apparently, from what we've gathered from our sources, preliminary information at this moment, that ensued between the Indian and the Chinese armies, and we pushed the Chinese army back. But if you were to just step outside from the tactical map and think at a strategic realm, what seems to be happening is that the situation along the line of actual control all the way from Ladakh to Arunachal Pradesh at this moment exceedingly tense. Our stringer in Ladakh, our reporter on the ground, was continuously in touch with us, talking about tank movements towards the Pangong Tso area, talking about civilians being evacuated. Now, I've trekked personally in the Pangong area several times over. There are very few villages over there, very few civilians, but they were pulled out, tanks brought in, and civilian trucks were acquisitioned, equipment being sent further. The situation along the line of actual control at this moment exceedingly tense, and it's not just limited to what happened. Remember, it's not just the status quo which was altered in April and May by the Chinese army, which hasn't completely been reversed, and status quo ante hasn't been restored. It's also new positions. So they're not satisfied with what the current LAC is. They're trying to make further ingress, which essentially suggests that the situation along the line of actual control extremely tense. And remember, the 1962 war also was fought in October and November. The fatal mistake at that time was, whether it's Krishna Menon, whether it is General Kaul, whether it was Pandit Nehru, they all believed that, it's too late now. In October, November, nothing is likely to happen. If there is to be some kind of a conflict with China, it would happen in April, May 63. That was their calculation. However, the Chinese struck when winter was onsetting, and which essentially means that the entire month of September, the entire month of October could be very, very tense along the line of actual control. And this incident shows that Galwan wasn't a one-off. The nation's attention has been diverted for the past few weeks because of various other stories, most notably the Sushant Singh Rajput story. But in the meanwhile, there's been a very fragile, very tense situation along the line of actual control. And what we're seeing is they're not just, they're not just happy with increasing deployment, they're also prepared to move their army in to change the status quo, which is virtually suggesting that there could be a limited war between India and China if this continues. And once the balloon goes up, you never know where it'll end and what happens as you start moving up the escalation ladder. The situation at this moment, exceedingly fragile, exceedingly tense.
Rahul Kanwal there, bringing us a graphical representation of what's really happening along the line of actual control. China upping its ante against India, India thwarting attempts. Let's quickly cut across to Major General P.K. Sehgal, defense expert, joining us for more details on that. General Sehgal, do take us through this aggression that China has shown once again, going back from its word. China being deceitful, deviating from its commitment.
China has always been a deceitful nation, and if we make the fatal mistake of trusting them, we'll pay a heavy cost. This time they were on the night of 29th and 30th August, they very clandestinely tried to alter the status quo on the southern bank of Pangong Tso. Should they be able to do so, they will cut the lifeline that goes from Darbuk to Chushul. holding our position at Chushul, where we also got an airfield, would become extremely untenable. Also, our lifeline thereafter on to Thwarts and Damchok passes through that. And should they occupy the heights on the southern banks of the Pangong Tso Lake, then both the axes that go on to Leh would be dominated by them and will be interfered by the Chinese exactly in the same manner as the Pakistanis were able to do threaten our lifeline in Kargil. I have served in that area for 3 years and I know that area better than the palm of my hand. And I've been to this area more than 100 times. It would give a huge mega strategic advantage to China. Our troops were very alert. And we've thwarted their intent, and we've made it known to them that under no circumstances will we allow them.
Absolutely, Major General. General Sehgal, here we're looking at China, of course, the bone of contention here being the entire road project that's coming up along the line of actual control. India upping its infrastructure. China clearly threatened, ain't it?
That's true, but that infrastructure is very vital and critical for us. We've got a major airfield at Thwarts. Then we got a major dispositions at Damchok, where also the Chinese have made an intrusion and they haven't gone back. Then we've got an airfield at Chushul. Both the airfield at Chushul and Thwarts are being supplied through this road, which goes on the southern part of the Pangong Tso Lake. If they threaten this road, obviously the Chinese would gain not only a tactical advantage, but they will gain a massive mega strategic advantage. And that's what they're intending to do. We've got to make sure that the Chinese are given a bloody nose, much worse than what happened to them in Galwan. We've also got to be fully prepared. The campaigning season in that area starts from October. And the Chinese are likely to undertake large-scale maneuvers at that point of time. And we've got to be very wary of any future thoughts on that. Similarly, the Chinese have also moved in missiles opposite Nakula and Doklam, which is clearly indicative that they have some mischief up their sleeve. We've got to be very cautious and we've got to be very
right.
Conscious of that.
Absolutely. General Sehgal, India there taking quite a hardened stance. We do know that several Chinese apps have been cracked down upon. India there being very stern. Action against Chinese firms have been taken, and India has also decided to pull out of the joint military exercise with China in Russia. But are these actions enough? Clearly, considering that China has been reluctant, has been quite aggressive and not sticking to its stance. A status quo not being maintained. China there, time and again, going back on its word. What next now?
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kanwal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.